Hey guys, Apocalypso here. The day has finally arrived. The Caucasus is now being represented in Age of Empires 2. So what is going on is there was an expansion that was leaked yesterday. It was briefly on the Microsoft Store, and now it's not. It's called the Mountain Royals. It introduces the Armenians and Georgians, and they both have the Mediterranean architecture, which means that there are now 8 civilizations in the game that have that architecture, which is a lot for sure. But I want to show you something. Okay, not this one, this one. Okay, so I'm going to be analyzing the screenshots, but I wanted to start off with this. So you can see they have the Mediterranean architecture. It's quite apparent here that they have that. But if we go over here, I'm going to be holding the microphone, so I only have one free hand. So that's the best way to get the best quality sound, so bear with me. But this building here, it looks like it's some kind of monastery, because you can see this monk type unit here. This monk type unit here is dropping off a relic in this building here. And another screenshot, not this one, this one. You can see that it has a garrison flag on it, which means that there is a relic inside. And that basically means that this is some kind of monastery. Probably a unique monastery for the Armenians and Georgians. So they don't have the shared Italian style monastery that the other civilizations have, which I'm really glad about because that doesn't fit them. And instead they have something that's more unique and fits them better, and that would be based on Ananuri Fortress. You can see here, this is not my picture. I'll pull. Okay, let me pull up this attribution here. Yeah, you can see that's who did it. So you can see this building here has. So let's pull up the building side by side. So you can see here, they have basically the same structure here. It's, prominent church building, and hopefully my audio is not that bad. I'm trying to keep the microphone close to me, but bear with me, like I said. But you can see that they have the same type of church structure here. You can see, boom, there. It's the exact same type of building. But they also have this prominent gate here, which you can sort of see here. It's a similar type of gate, and you can see the walls with the battlements in them, which is very fortress-like. So I initially thought that this would be some kind of monastery fortress hybrid, based on the fact that it's based on Ananuri and appears to be more fortified than other monasteries. But I think it's just a monastery skin because it's in both screenshots, and it would have to be unique. It had to be unique to the Georgians, and we don't see that being the case here. So you can see here that they have like the battlements and the gates, and this structure here, that's very similar to this. And get a better close up look on that. Let me just pull up the attribution. There we go. And yes, so you can see here that it's a very similar structure here. There we go. And zoom in a little bit, and And yes, you can see that it's a little bit similar in terms of shape. This one's more, I want to say, polygonal. This one's more square, but you can see it has the same type of angled, pointed roof, and has arches, and it's very similar. So let me. Okay. Yeah. So I think this is definitely a shared, unique monastery skin for the Armenians and Georgians. I would have honestly preferred Javari Monastery, which let me pull it up real quick. This is the building I was talking about that I would have preferred as the Caucasus Monastery. Let me pull up the attribution. But I'm okay with Ananuri being what they went with, because I actually really like Ananuri, and I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's a little basic, but it's not quite castle-like enough to be a good castle for the Georgians, which is what I initially desired. But in terms of the actual castle, what we see in the screenshot here, and nope, that's not it. Here. Now, what this castle here is it is based on Akaltsiki Castle. I probably totally butchered that. Let's just call it Rabadi Castle. That's its alternate name. And you can kind of see what it looks like here. Yeah. You can kind of get a little glimpse of what it looks like. Let's put this guy over here. Yeah. Okay, so yes, so this castle. Nope, that's not it. Okay, here we go. So this castle here, you can sort of see it's very similar. Has the same type of tower, the same round towers, and it's on a cliff, like the rocks here suggest. So this is definitely Rabadi Castle. And let me pull up the attribution so you know who did it. Okay, so this castle is Rabadi Castle. Now, what about the wonder, you may ask? The wonder is a little more complicated. So let me find the screenshot that has that. That would be, that's not this one. That's this one. Here we go. So this is the Georgian wonder. I initially thought that this was the Armenian wonder, which would have been the Cathedral of Ani, which is now in Turkey. Ani was the ruined capital of Armenia before it's the now ruined capital of Armenia. It was, I should say, it's not in Armenia anymore, but when it was in Armenia, it was the capital of the medieval kingdom, and then it was destroyed, completely obliterated by the Mongols, and now they only have ruins there. So that's I guess that's unfortunate for them, but that's irrelevant because that is not this building. This is not the Cathedral of Ani. This is actually Svetsits. Let me try this again. Svetitskoveli Cathedral. I think that was pretty good. All right, so let me see if I can find a picture here. You kind of get an idea of what it looks like. There's not really much, is there? Let me just. Okay, so let me try to find a better picture here. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is a better picture. It's from Lonely Planet. You can see. I don't want to go to the page. I want to see the image. Okay. Whoa, that's way too big. Okay, so yeah. Okay, that's way too big. You can sort of see that it has the exact same type of structure to it. That's the wrong one. Nope. Okay, here we go. You can see it has the exact same type of structure. Let me pull it up here. Same type of structure here as here. It's the same type of general roof structure, and also ornamentation seems pretty similar. And you have this, I forget what they're called, pointed domes. I don't remember what they're called. Round domes? No, well, domes are rounded, so there's a specific name for this type of dome that I can't think of right now, but both are present here. It is quite clearly Svetitskhoveli Cathedral. Well, I at least made an effort, so he can give me credit for that. But yes, so that is the Georgian wonder. Let's get rid of that, and get rid of that, and get rid of that. I don't need that anymore. So this here is the Armenian wonder. I originally thought that this was the Georgian wonder because I thought that the other one was Armenian, but this is very clearly Armenian, and I was able to confirm it with my Georgian friend, who I showed him both pictures, and he agreed that this one is more Armenian, and it is based on Echmiadzin Cathedral, which is the first cathedral in ancient Armenia, and also the oldest cathedral in the world, as you can see here in the Wikipedia page. So that is a pretty fitting wonder. And I forgot to mention about the Georgian wonder. It was the tallest building, the tallest church building in Georgia until the modern period. So that's also quite fitting if that's what they went with, and I think that's what they did. And this one is clearly the Armenian wonder. It's has like the exact same types of features, the same ornamentation, same layout. Everything is 1-to-1, and I don't know how I could have thought it was anything else, but I guess I was a little blinded somehow. But this is clearly the Armenian civilization, which means that this is some kind of unique monastery skin for those two civilizations. And that's something we can be quite sure about based on the fact that it's in both of these screenshots. Something else that you might notice in the screenshots are these towers here. I think they're also here, and they're not in there. Notice they're only in the screenshots that are specifically depicting Georgia, which also compounds the embarrassment of me not realizing that this is the Georgian wonder. So it does not appear in this screenshot at all. They do not appear in this screenshot at all. They do appear in these two screenshots. Nope, not that one. Not that one. These two screenshots. And I'll get to those other screenshots later. But, yes, you can clearly see that they're here. And here. Now, they don't have a player color, so I do not think they're buildable. But if they were, that would be really cool, because I love these. What are these, you may ask? They're called Savan Towers. They are tower houses built in the Svaneti region of Georgia, which is very mountainous. And it was frequently attacked by invaders, and apparently the Svan Towers were also used as protection. I can't think of the word. They were used as protection for. They're used as sanctuary. That's the word I'm thinking of. Used as sanctuaries for people who were engaged in blood feuds, because that was a thing that the Svaneti region used to do, although that has not been. That's been heavily cracked down on in recent times because of modern law. But back when the Svans were largely self-contained with their own laws and culture, they had these blood feuds. And because of the blood feuds, residents would frequently build Savan towers to protect themselves and offer sanctuary to people who are victims of these blood feuds. And you can kind of get an idea what they look like. I'll put the attribution there. Some guy from Belgium. And you can see here that they have the same type of roof and shape, and they even have the same matriculations as Shadiversity would announce like that. Couldn't think of his name, but anyway, that's let me see if I can find it. There we go. So you can see they have the same type of matriculations, the same type of roof, the same type of structure. Everything is very similar. So this is clearly some kind of scenario editor object. Let me see if I can find more pictures from Google. Okay, so here's Google, and you can see that some of them were attached to houses, like here, but there were also some that were freestanding. And I think this site here is probably what this screenshot here is referencing. All these towers just clumped together like that. And that's very similar to this. And they're on a hill too, so next to the mountain. So I think that's probably what this is referencing here with this, part of the screenshot. And I'm really glad that the developers went the way they did, and went the way they did with referencing the Savan towers in the way they did. And I suspect that the Georgians will have good defenses. And the reason for that is because I really like the Georgian mountain villages, and they feel quite special to me. And I feel a connection to them in a way that I don't feel connection to other things. So I'm glad that they are represented here, so you can kind of get the idea what they look like in the real world and not just in the game. So you can see that they are a very accurate depiction of the actual towers. Okay, I keep messing this up. There it is. The actual towers, and you can see there they have the Roman towers too, which is kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. But it would be nice if somebody added a player color to these buildings and then made them buildable as like a skin or something. But I guess you can't have everything. But it is cool that they are at least in the game. Get out of here. Yes, so it's cool that they're in the game that way. And let's try to find other things that are revealing. So I believe this here is the Georgian unique unit, which would be the Manaspa. And it's said on the wiki, which is actually just cribbed from the leak. It said that the Manaspa is a brawny cavalry unit whose strength increases in numbers. Now, what that means, I have no idea. I don't know what it means, what they mean by that. But maybe it's some kind of aura effect where when Manaspa are clumped up together, they get stronger from the aura. I don't know what it means. Only time will tell. But that's the Georgian unique units, and I think that you can kind of see it there. It's a Lancer, kind of similar to the Litus. And it actually looks kind of similar to the Litus, actually. And I think that there, I don't know who that is. That might be Tamar. I think that's probably Tamar there. I don't know who that is, but I think this is from the campaign. And considering Tamar visited the Svanetti region, there's a good chance we might end up seeing it in the campaign. And I should probably talk about what the campaigns actually are. It said the campaigns are Tamar's Ascension, which is pretty self-explanatory, and then there's Thoros the Great. I would have preferred to be Ashot the Great because he actually did something major with the Armenia proper and not just an Armenian refugee state, I want to say. But Thoros the Great, he did something related to Cilician Armenia. And I think Cilician Armenia is probably a huge inspiration for the Armenian civilization because the unique unit for the Armenians is the composite bowman. And if we go here to the military history of Armenia, it says that where was it? Let me find this here. Bowman. Okay. Archer. Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. So something about archers. Apparently archers in the antiquity period were good. And they also were recruited by the Ottomans. They were recruited by the Ottomans, and I'm trying to find where I saw this because it was somewhere in this article. I'm probably just glancing right past it. Okay, so here we go. It said, the Ottoman army at its earlier stage enjoyed the service of Armenian infantry archers who relied on an old-fashioned composite bow. So I think that's why the unique unit for the Armenians is the composite bowman, because the Armenians were historically very skilled with archery. Somebody told me that Armenian archers were the best in the medieval period. So it's a skilled archer capable of piercing even the sturdiest armor. Now, that sounds like it would ring a lot of alarm bells because it sounds like it ignores pierce armor, which is not good for an archer because they can attack at range. It's okay for melee units to have that ability because they have to get close. But for an archer, it's harder to balance. So I don't know if they're going to go the route of having the composite bowman just completely ignore armor, because that would be really hard to balance, and they'd probably have to have really short range or really low attack to compensate. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. And to finish up talking about the campaigns, the Persian campaign is Ismail, which he founded the Safavid Empire, which is one of the first gunpowder empires, so that would be interesting. And that suggests that the Persian rework is somehow related to the Safavids. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with the Persian rework. And I'll get to that after I'm finished with analyzing these screenshots. So you can see very clearly that the Georgians and the Armenians have the architecture, the Mediterranean architecture, which I was hoping for a unique set, but we can always mod that in at some point or something like that, or just bug the developers to make one. I don't know, but you can see apparently the Armenians also have unique units called the Warrior Priest, which is an infantry unit that can heal and also pick up relics, which we can see in the one screenshot here. Because that's the Warrior Priest, even though it's Armenian, it's in the Georgian screenshot. But you can see that it has the ability to pick up relics. There it is there. And you can also zoom in and you get to see the composite bowmen. I think there's a few around here. Yeah, there they are there. You can sort of see them. They look pretty cool. It looks like they have capes, so we'll get another capey boy in the game. And it'll be the first foot archer for Europe, if you consider it to be Europe, since the longbowman. So that's pretty wild. And it's always good to have another archery-focused civilization because we haven't had one since 2016 with the Vietnamese. So that would be very cool for the Armenians to have, assuming the unit is well balanced. Now, there's something else a little peculiar about these screenshots, and it's these guys, these donkey carts, and I believe you see them over here. You see one over here. You see one here. You can see you have villagers. They're on stone, they're on wood, and they're on gold, but they're dropping off at this donkey cart. Now, what does that mean? Well, I think the donkey carts are mobile, and this was hinted at in a tweet. I'm not calling them X's. In a tweet by Age of Empires, saying that there has to be an easier way to chop wood, and showed a whole bunch of lumber camps. In fact, let me try and pull that up now. Okay, you can see this here. You can see this here. It said there's gotta be a better way to do this, and you see a bunch of lumber camps, just absolutely insane. And that was absolutely hinting at these. Okay, these carts here, absolutely hinting at that, and people were right to be convinced that it was some kind of clue because it was. And I'm not entirely sure what donkey carts have to do with Georgia and Armenia, and I don't even know if they're going to be common to both or just unique to one of them. But it didn't say anything about them being a unique unit, so it might be unique to both. It might be regional to both, which would be interesting, but a little strange. It would certainly change the way the game is played significantly, and that would be very unusual. Not having to make camps would actually be a pretty good bonus. Presumably, the donkey carts can also research the technologies that are normally available at the camps. So it's like a unit that also researches technologies, which is just a little bizarre. But, who knows? That could be, what it is. But we'll just have to find out. And I think that's pretty much all you can really glean from these screenshots right now. There's not a whole lot to get from these. I think this is a campaign here. I think I basically talked about all I can here except for these buildings, which I think are probably scenario editor buildings. I don't think they're actually buildable. They doesn't look like they have. Actually, Skype keeps bothering me. But I think they do actually have a player color here. It's hard to tell. Either they do and it's orange, or they don't and it just blends in with the roof tiles. Actually, it looks to me like they don't have a player color. So they're just a Gaia object in the scenario editor. And what do we have here? It looks like there's a cave here, and I think we haven't had caves in the game before. And there are caves. There are these famous cave dwellings in Georgia, and maybe that's why they decided to add caves. Maybe they just did that. It's significant to uh, the campaign somehow. I don't know, but either way, it looks like we have caves now. So that's pretty neat. And like I said, I think that's all we can really get from these screenshots here. Let's move on to these screenshots, which appear to just mainly be campaign stuff. But if we zoom in and move over, you can kind of see these heavy cavalry units here, which I think are probably Savarans, which are Persian. Now, you may notice immediately that they have the South Asian architecture, but I don't think that's the case in game. I think they have the Central Asian architecture. I think this is supposed to be Kabul, and for some reason they're fighting Georgia. I'm not sure why, but they are. And you can see these unique cavalry units. So, whoops, we'll go back. You see these unique cavalry units here. I think they are a unique unit for the new Persians. Now, who knows what's going to happen to the War Elephant, but hopefully it sticks around because it's iconic. But it appears that they're going to have a new unique unit. And let me see if I can find another unit. There was another unit somewhere. So it's like a Lancer type unit. Here we go. Now this is supposedly the Tatars. According to the wiki, I don't know where the wiki found that. I think it's because of probably because of the castle. But this is definitely Armenian here. So it'll be a little strange if the Armenians were fighting the Tatars and not the Persians. But you can kind of see these unique Lancers here. They appear to have like headdresses, head wraps, as opposed to the typical helmets of the steppe Lancers. So I think there's some kind of pre-evolution of the steppe Lancer, because it looks like they're related to steppe Lancers somehow, because they have the same type of spear and they just look very similar to the normal steppe Lancer. So I think they have like a feudal steppe Lancer or something, which would be pretty wild. It would definitely be radically different. But I think that's probably what they are. They are a Persian unit that are somehow, for some reason, in the Tatars base. Unless this isn't the Tatars at all, and the Persians have the same castle as the Tatars and Cumans. But who knows if that's what they're doing. And this is the Minaret of Jam that was introduced in Dynasties of India. So this is not anything new. This was in the game for like a year. So that's nothing special. Maybe it'll be the new Persian Wonder or something, but I don't think it is, because we actually see the Persian Wonder here. So I don't think they are changing the Wonder. What they might be doing is they might actually be splitting the Persians into the Sassanids and the Safavids, which would be different. But I don't think that's what they're doing, because the campaign is specifically listed for the Persians. And if the Sassanids were different, they would be listed as the Sassanids and not the Persians. So I think the Persians are probably going to be intact, and they're not going to be split like the Indians were. I think they're just going to be overhauled. I think that's what's going to happen. And who knows what the War Elephant's going to be, in that process, because the Persians would have 3 unique units like the Gujaras, but the Gujars only had 2 unique units existing at the same time, because one of them was a pre-evolution, which is just like the Persians. If the Steppe Lancer is if the Steppe Lancer pre-evolution theory is correct. So I think the Persians are probably just going to be overhauled and not split. But it would be interesting to see if they were split. But based on the campaign being listed as the Persians, I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're just overhauling them to make them more applicable to the Safavids as well as the Sassanids, because they were representing the Sassanids ever since they were out. And the Sassanids are very early in the game's timeline, so it's a little strange to have them only represent the Sassanids and not the later dynasties of Persia like the Safavids. So I think they're probably overhauling the Persians to be more all-encompassing, as opposed to mainly just referencing the Sassanids. So I don't really have anything else to say at the moment, but it does look like the Armenians will be skilled with cavalry, which would be fitting, and they're probably going to have a focus on siege too, because that was something they were historically good at. So I think we can probably figure out the Armenians as being an archer and cavalry civilization with a focus on siege, or they're a cavalry and siege civilization with an archer unique unit. So I think that's probably what the Armenians will be. But as for the Georgians, it's hard to know. They might be defensive in nature. It would make a lot of sense given how much they had to defend. And also, it talks about carve out a sturdy kingdom in the shadow of the Caucasus Mountains and use the rugged terrain to your advantage as you repulse countless foreign invasions. Now that sounds a lot like a defensive civilization to me. So I think the Georgians are probably going to have a defensive focus, which would make sense because that's what I did for my concept. So I think that's probably the angle they're going to do, because there's only so much you can do with the same amount of research that I had access to. So things are probably not going to be that much different. They're probably going to have a focus on towers and other defensive things. They might end up being a counter civilization similar to the Byzantines. So who knows what the Georgians are going to be like, but we can definitely see that their castle and their wonder are very interesting looking. We don't know what the Armenian castle is looking like, but presumably they're not going to have the same castle as the Georgians, because the Georgian castle has the Georgian flag all over it, so it wouldn't make sense for the Armenians to be building it. Now, would it? But I think that's all I really have to say about the screenshots. I've been going on for a while now, so I think that is basically all that I can say about it. That's all that needs to be said. I think I figured out all that needs to be figured out right now. We'll find out soon. We'll get more information about the expansion soon, like release date and more specifics. But as for now, it's a good look, even though it's just a leak. It's a good look at what's coming. And it's something to get really excited about, especially for me, because I wanted the Caucasus in the game for a very long time. And there's not much I can say about this. I think I'm all talked out. There's nothing else I can say. And I think I've analyzed everything that can be analyzed. So I'll see you in the next video, whatever that is. And sorry, I did not upload anything for a while. I had a video recorded. It was another Extreme AI Matchups video, but I just didn't have the motivation to upload it. So maybe I'll have the motivation to upload it now. But I'll see you in the next video, whatever that is, and I hope you enjoyed this very long-winded analysis that I tried to go into a lot of detail about it. So, I'll see you in the next video, and peace.